Yeah, Sean, just a quick question. When you're talking about policing in America, do you go all the way back to the birth of policing and what was the foundation of that? I mean, do we go back almost? We talked about almost 200 years ago, maybe 150 years ago, where it was really rooted in slave patrol.
Yep.
And that's, and so historically, I believe behind all of that, that's why we had, really the white male in the position of policing, because it was really rooted around keeping slaves in line. Do you address that as in terms of the foundation of policing in America?
We have a number of people who come on who join our game changer events, whether it's virtual or in person, and they talk about the roots of law enforcement, right? And just to be clear, slavery wasn't the only reason why only white males were members of law enforcement. If you look back, a lot of things that had nothing to do with slavery, and white males were only allowed to have certain positions, and that has changed. We've had chiefs join us, chiefs who are of Latino descent and chiefs who are of Asian descent, talk about what their process was to becoming chief, because it wasn't just a matter of, okay, those barriers have been lifted and now anyone can become a member of law enforcement. You know that members of law enforcement went through their own Jim Crow rules. Where, okay, now I'm a member of law enforcement, but because of my skin color, I can't drive a patrol car. Or I'm a Black police officer and I can't arrest white people. This has been the evolution of law enforcement and law enforcement community relations in this country. And to hear members of law enforcement themselves educate us based on their own experience is really eye-opening for a lot of people to listen to, experience, and it's highly educational.
Yeah, and the evolving, I totally agree with, and we've been moving forward. And it's so important, again, to really look at the root of where we're evolving from. What was that like? What was the foundation of it? And so it's a difficult struggle in terms of coming out of that model in which I think it was rooted in.
Listen, when you look at the country that we live in and the government that has been responsible for creating the country, this country, and the rules by which we're governed, whether it's the 14th Amendment, which, by the way, if y'all want a history lesson that was not in our history books, and yet this information is made readily available to us because it has been collected by our government, watch the documentary Amend on Netflix. It's on the 14th Amendment. And it focuses on the rights and protections of an American citizen and who gets those rights and who enjoys those protections. And how did that amendment get created and why was there a need for it in the first place? It's a fascinating journey in history that I guarantee everyone on this call will learn something that was not in our history books, because when it comes to a lot of things, it wasn't written about in our history books. You'll have to find that out for yourself. So I do really recommend that folks watch Amend, because it was mind-blowingly educational to me.